my name is Jen, and we are going to do a practice today that will be really helpful in grounding you and working on balance and strength as well. And will also help you start to find your focus, perhaps live a little bit more in the present moment. So to begin, just find a comfortable seat, whatever suits you, and go ahead and close your eyes if that feels okay to you, or you can leave your gaze just upon a point, and just take a moment to start to find your breath. So perhaps the first deep breath that you've taken all day. So take a full inhale in through your nose, let your lungs fill completely to maximum capacity. And then exhale it out through your mouth, completely releasing all of the breath, and maybe the exhalation being a little bit longer than the inhalation. So do a few more breaths like that. As you inhale, notice the belly filling, the chest lifting, the heart space expanding. And as you exhale, emptying out, the belly drawing in, the chest slowly closing. And then take a few more breaths like that. Just full rounds of breath. Nothing else needs to happen. And perhaps you bring your focus to the right and left side of your body. Just kind of notice if anything's feeling different on either side. Be okay with that, knowing both sides are always different, and honoring any kind of injuries or anything that's going on in your body. And we will move into this practice together, so go ahead and blink your eyes open if they're closed. Go ahead and shift your way to all fours. And right away, when you come to all fours, go ahead and spread your hands nice and wide. A lot of times we forget to use the entire span of the hand rather than just pushing down into the heels of the hands. And you can have the toes tucked under or untucked. That's totally personal preference. And from your neutral spine, just start to move through some cats and cows. So it's drawing the belly up and in on that exhalation, rounding the back, and then inhaling to pull back through. And just notice as you're moving through these cats and cows, if perhaps there's more weight in your hands versus your legs, maybe your arms are doing more work, or maybe the right hand is doing more work than the left. And then see if you can find balance. So maybe play with moving hips from side to side, kind of looking over one shoulder, back at the hip. And then come back to your neutral spine and just notice, again, if you're leaning too far forward into your hands, see if you can come back and find the balance between the upper and lower part of your body. And then if the toes are not tucked under, go ahead and tuck them under. Pull your belly up and in, and then press the earth away. Pick your knees up just about an inch or two off of the mat. Create some space across the upper back, opening space between the shoulder blades, and things will start to heat up here, cook a little bit. But I want you to notice how the core, right in the center, is giving you the strength to lift up here and find balance equally between your hands and your feet. So one more breath here, just feeling that cook from your center. And then lower your knees back down, untuck your toes, and shift back to a child's pose. And when you come down, let your forehead rest, and just notice that awareness, that kind of buzzing energy that's in your belly from that little lift in the knees. We're going to try to keep that awake throughout the practice, especially when we're finding those balancing postures. So make your way back up to all fours, and then from here, go ahead and shift back to downward facing dog. Take a moment just to get used to down dog, pedaling out the heels, just kind of see how you're feeling today. Every time you roll out the mat, it's a different experience because we are never the same on any given day. And then maybe come to stillness in your downward dog. And the same idea that we felt in all fours. Can you find balance between your hands and your feet? Can you notice if maybe you're rooting more into your left hand than your right, or maybe you're pressing more into the right foot than the left? Maybe play with kind of shifting the weight from side to side, and then finding that place where you can really solidly find the balance between the front and the back. And then come back to that buzzing energy in your belly that you created when your knees were hovering above the earth, and let that be right at the center of your downward facing dog. Come back to your breath that we practiced in the very beginning, a full inhalation through the nose and a full exhalation through the mouth. So we're going to be letting the breath be our guide today. So wait for your inhalation to begin and then draw your body forward to plank. You may notice that you have to shift your feet back a little bit. That may mean that your downward dog is a little short. And then exhale to draw your hips up and back, downward facing dog. So see if you can move with breath here. Inhale your body out to plank pose. And exhale, shifting up and back, downward facing dog. Now this time as you come forward to plank, we're going to pause. And again, like we did in all fours, like we did in down dog, I want you to notice if more of your weight is in your hands. And use the power in your legs to press back into your heels and start to find the balance between the arms and the legs holding you steady and that buzzing energy right in the belly as you pull your belly up and in. See if you can find a little more space across the shoulder blades, breathing into the space between there. And if this is too intense, no problem, lower your knees down. And again, don't let all of the weight come forward, press back into the balls of the feet. So one more breath here in your plank pose. And then keep pressing back through your heels and slowly descend through chaturanga, coming the whole way down to the ground. Untuck your toes, take your fingertips wide off of the mat, and then draw your shoulders up, back, and down, coming into a cobra pose. Drop your right shoulder towards the midline, look over your left shoulder, taking a little twist through your spine, and then draw that right shoulder up, back, and down. Drop the left shoulder down and peek up and over that right shoulder, and then take the left shoulder up, back, and down. Notice both sides, and then release your way back down to the mat. Slide your hands under your shoulders and begin to fire up the balance between the hands, the feet, that buzzing belly energy. And then press yourself back up to plank pose. Pull from your hips, draw up and back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in through your nose, let it go out through the mouth. Feel the hands and feet equally rooting down into the earth. Keep pressing down into your left foot. Send your right leg up to the sky. And notice immediately if you're kind of opening up your hips, see if you can keep the hips in the same plane and just reach back through that right heel. Maybe you're up onto the ball of the left foot. It's okay if that heel is not touching the ground. And then as you exhale, pull your knee into your nose, round your spine, and then press that right leg back up to the sky, reaching through the heel. So twice more like that, pulling the knee into the nose, draw the chin to the chest, and inhale, extending that right leg back to the sky. So one more time here, pull the knee into the nose, and then sweep that leg back up to the sky. This time as you pull the knee to the nose, take your gaze forward, lift your hips high, feel that buzzing energy in the belly, and then step your right foot the whole way through, coming to a lunge. And immediately, right here, feel the difference between the right and the left leg. Find a little balance. Think about squeezing your inner thighs in towards one another and just let your fingertips hang here, just hovering above the earth. Start to really root into the foundation that exists in the legs. And then as you inhale, draw yourself up to a lunge. Let your gaze be steady upon a point. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears. And then as you exhale, you're going to draw your arms long, coming to an arrow lunge. But see if you can keep the weight balanced between the right and left leg. So inhale to bring yourself back up to your lunge. And exhale as you tilt forward. Keep the legs steady. So one more round here. Inhaling to sweep the arms up. And exhaling to reach the arms back. Inhale, preparing to take the hands back down to the earth. And then lowering them down, framing out your right foot. Now from here, press into your hands. See if you can pick your right foot up and take it back to plank pose. Find the balance in the front, the back, the center of the pose, and then slowly lower yourself down through chaturanga. Take another round of cobra pose here. Maybe you take this wide shoulder cobra, like you have tennis balls underneath your palms. And then slowly return back to the earth. Fire up your plank pose from the ground up, pressing back to plank. From your center, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Feel the balance between the right and left foot, and then send your left leg to the sky. And again, see if you can keep the hips from opening, but instead keep the hips in the same plane. As you exhale, pull that left knee into the nose, round the spine, and then press your left leg back to the sky as if you had weighted air. So again, exhale, pull the knee into the nose, empty out the lungs, and inhale, sweep that leg back up to the sky. This time, using that buzzing energy in the belly, pull that left foot the whole way through. And then once you land here, again, take a minute to balance out how much weight is in the left and the right leg. We tend to bring it all forward and forget about this back leg. So find that energy. Think about hugging your inner thighs in, let your fingertips hover. And just really establish the base of your lunge first. Wait for your next inhalation, and then draw yourself up, rising to your lunge. Keep the weight equal in the left and right leg, and then tilt your way forward, coming to your arrow lunge, reaching energetically back through your fingertips. So inhale to sweep the arms back up to the sky. Exhale to lean forward. Can you keep the balance between the front and back leg? Inhale one more time, sweeping the arms. And exhale, reaching the arms back, reaching through the crown of the head. Inhale, the arms rise in preparation to lower them to the ground. Frame out to your left foot following your exhalation. Press into your hands, pick up your left foot, landing in plank. Exhale to slowly descend. Pause when you're at 90 degrees in the arms. And then pull yourself through. Upward facing dog. Press into the tops of the feet. Use the belly to lift the hips. Up and back. Downward facing dog. Take a moment to pedal out the heels. Maybe shake the head yes and no. Check back in with your breath. And then root into the left leg. Take the right leg up to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose. Go ahead and step your right foot the whole way through. Pull up through the ground to rise up to your high lunge. Now this time as you exhale, begin to tilt forward, but drag your left toes. Bring your hands to your heart and pull your left knee up. As you inhale, tilting back, land that left foot, sweep your arms back to the sky to your lunge. So again, the exhale, we empty out, root down, pull the left knee up. And inhale to step back, land the foot, arms sweep. So the gaze being steady upon a point is going to give you another place where you're going to find balance. Last time to land back into our lunge, arms rise. As you exhale, lower your hands to the mat. Press into the earth, pick up your right foot, and let your right toes just hover above the mat. And see if you can put as much energy into your right leg as the left leg that is connected to the earth. And then let the toes touch, slowly descend to Chaturanga Dandasana. Pulling through, Urdhva Mukha, upward facing dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Take a moment to notice the difference between the right and the left leg. And then send the weight into the right leg, send your left leg to the sky. And then exhale through that buzzing energy in the belly. Pull your left foot the whole way through. Take a moment to land, hug the inner thighs, rise up, steady yourself. Don't ever feel like you need to be in a rush. Let your gaze be as steady as your left foot rooting as you exhale, tilting and pulling that right knee up. Inhale to step back. So know here that you can do whatever you like with your arms. If it's more balancing for you to keep your hands at your heart center, one side of the body is always going to be different, right? We've had different injuries. We've had different things happen to our feet, our legs, our shoulders, our arms, whatever it may be. And just allow that to be perfectly fine. The next time we step back to lunge, we're going to prepare to come back down to the ground. Bringing the hands to frame out the foot. Press down, pull the belly up and in, and send your left foot back. Finding that one-legged plank, that hover, but the leg isn't just hanging out, you're really energizing it. As the toes touch down, slowly descend, Chaturanga Dandasana. And then pull the heart through, drawing yourself into upward facing dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a moment to collect yourself in down dog. Full breath in and full breath out. Weight into the left foot, take the right leg to the sky. And exhale, knee to nose, drawing that right foot the whole way through. Adding on here, hug in, rise up to your lunge, steady your gaze. As you exhale, you're going to collect the hands, pull that left knee up. As you inhale, cross your ankle on top of your thigh, sit back into a figure four shape. And then as you exhale, pull the knee back up. Inhale to step back, landing in your lunge. Again, exhale, pull the left knee up, balancing on the right foot. Exhale, sit back into the hip. Inhale to rise back up, knee lifts, and step your way back, finding your lunge. So one more time here, just take your time. Notice each round as being its own thing, very different each time. Balance is all relative to what's happening in our life, how we slept last night, what we ate yesterday. Lower your hands to the earth. Pick up your right foot, take it back, one-legged plank. Slowly descending as the toes touch, Chaturanga. Urdhva Mukha, up dog. Pull the heart through, shoulders over wrists. Belly up and in, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath here and let it go. Weight over into the right foot. Take your left leg to the sky. Gather through the belly as you pull the knee through, landing your left foot. Squeeze the inner thighs, root the feet, rise up to your lunge. Never feel rushed. Take a time to get steady. As you exhale, pull the right knee up, bring the hands to the heart. Cross that ankle, inhale right into that right hip. Exhale to come back up, reach to the crown of the head. Inhale, step back, arms sweep. So 2 more full cycles like that. Pulling the knee up, crossing the ankle, sitting into the hip. Draw the knee back up. Slowly step back. Land in your lunge. So one more time, creating a sense of balance on the right and left side. Sitting into figure four, knee rising. Stepping back to your lunge, be okay with being a little wobbly, and lower your hands down. Pick up your left foot, take it back, find that one-legged plank. Slowly descend, toes touch, Chaturanga. Pull the heart through, always being sure that the shoulders are over the wrists. Exhale from your center, up and back, downward facing dog. Take a deep inhalation into the back body. And as you exhale, lower your knees down, shift back into child's pose. So see if you can let your forehead touch the mat here, or maybe you have a block and you can slide it underneath there. And just iron out your forehead. Take a minute to absorb all of the intensity that comes in balancing postures. Just notice how it feels in your body. And notice how the body has this natural craving for balance. So we're going to take that flow one more time. In one breath per movement, we're really going to focus on moving with the breath. So eventually gather yourself back up and make your way back to down dog. Reset. See if you can deepen your breath even further. Notice if you haven't been paying attention to your breath, or maybe breathing into the upper portion of your chest, and start to really deepen into your breath once again. Root into your left foot, send your right leg to the sky, and then take the entire exhale to step your right foot through. Take the entire inhale to sweep your arms up. The entire exhale to pull the belly in, draw the left knee up, rising to the crown. Inhale as you go to figure four, think about breathing into the hip. Exhale to pull that knee back up. Inhale to step back, landing, balance between the right and left leg. Exhale, hands to the earth. Inhale to pick up that right foot, stretch into one-legged plank, descending to chaturanga. Pull the heart through, press into the tops of the feet. Navel draws in, hips lift up, downward facing dog. Straight into the second side, left leg lifts. Exhale, pull the knee to the nose, rounding, step through. Entire inhalation, as if you could breathe the whole way up into your fingertips. Exhale, hands to the heart. Draw that right knee up. Cross the ankle. Inhale as if you could send breath right into your right hip. Exhale, press down to draw the knee back up. Inhale to step back, refill in your lunge. Exhale, hands to the earth. Pick up your left foot, let it find that hover moment, and lower yourself, chaturanga. Pull the heart through, and shifting back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in through your nose and let it go. Lower your knees to the earth. Come back to your child's pose. For this round, maybe see how it feels to bring your arms long at your sides. Just let your arms relax, let your shoulders relax. Maybe you iron out your forehead. Maybe you let the hips move a little bit from side to side. And just shifting through the midline to the right and the left. And then coming back to pause in your child's pose. And just breathe here. One more full cycle of breath. And then slowly make your way up to all fours. So from here, we're going to start back where we began. So finding the weight equally between the hands, the feet. Again, toes can be tucked or untucked. That's totally personal preference. And just take a moment to feel the difference between a cow and a cat. Find that in between neutral spine. And then send your right leg straight back behind you and send your left arm forward. And as much as you can reach in opposition, feel that extension there. And then as you exhale, think about a half goddess pose. So your left arm comes out to a half goalpost and your right knee draws forward. Inhale to extend, reach long. This time as you exhale, pull the knee, the nose, round the spine, breath into the back body, and then extending, reaching long in opposition. So exhale again, elbow, knee, really challenging your balance here. Inhale, extend it back out. Exhale, round the spine, pull the navel up and in. And then extending, reaching out in both directions. Last time here, don't hold your breath. Try to stabilize the hips. And then extend long. Pull the elbow, the knee in, round the spine. And then sweep back out. Lower your left hand, lower your right knee. Now slide your left hand to the center of your mat so it's under your heart, and take your right arm up to the sky. Take a nice twist through your spine, and then thread your right shoulder underneath your left. Come down onto the shoulder, let your head rest onto the mat. And again, always talking about balance today. So notice if your weight's leaning over to your right leg, can you find the balance between both sides? Maybe your left arm reaches up behind you, finding your hip crease, drawing that left shoulder blade onto the back. Continue to find your breath. Maybe a little extra on the exhalation. Sweep that left arm back up. Place it right in front of your nose. Then unthread your right arm. Peel yourself back open. And then lower your right hand down. Take a moment to reset. Just notice if things feel any different on either side as we begin to take the same sequence on the second side. So first sending the left leg back, belly pulling up to support, and then send that right arm forward. Imagine if you could reach from your right shoulder, reach from your left hip, so you're finding all of this space. Wait for your exhalation, and then pull that right elbow back, the left knee forward. Inhale, extending long. Exhale, elbow, knee pulls in. Draw the navel up. Inhaling to extend. So continuing here, elbow, knee, draw out. Notice if all of your weight is in your left hand and reignite a connection in your right leg. So one more round here. Inhale to expand. Exhale to draw out. Inhale to reach. And exhale, pull it in. Inhale to extend, one last long reach. Lower your right hand and lower your left knee. So slide your left hand under your heart. Extend your left arm up to the sky, ring out the spine. Thread your left arm under, come the whole way down onto your shoulder. Let your head rest. Maybe take that left hand behind you. Maybe finding the hip crease. And again, notice if you're leaning over into your left leg. See if you can find the balance. The hands behind the back. Pull the right shoulder blade onto the back so you get a little deeper twist. And then sweep the arm back up to the sky. Put it right in front of the face. Unthread your left arm. Sweep it up. And then lower your left hand down to the mat. Take a moment to give your wrists a little counter stretch here. So maybe turning fingertips towards the knees. You can play with some cats and cows if that feels good. Or maybe it feels better in your body to turn the hands forward. Just giving yourself a little bit of a counter in the hands. And then go ahead and shift your weight back to downward facing dog. So just take a moment, maybe shift your weight from side to side, maybe moving from one hand to the other, and then find that place where you're finding balance. You're finding as much power in both sides. And then we're going to come back to that original sequence, but play with it a little bit deeper. So inhale, the right leg sweeps to the sky. And exhale to step the whole way through. So I'm going to turn and face the camera so we can do this together. So as you inhale, rise up to your lunge. As you exhale, gathering the hands to the heart, pull the knee up. So we're going to go into that figure 4 shape, and we're going to sit back into it for a little bit longer. Our body's already been here a couple of times. So you have some options here. One is to stay here in this figure 4 shape. The second thing that you could do is bring your hands to the earth and begin to straighten your right leg, moving into more of a forward fold shape. The next place that you could go, and again, we're all about balance today, is coming into a toe stand with this figure 4 shape. So you would begin to rise up onto the ball of the right foot and come on down. And once you get here, take a moment to find your balance. Maybe you play with one hand coming to the heart. The gaze is just as important. Maybe both hands come to the heart and you catch that moment where you hover in this little toe stand. Whatever works best in your body, we'll gradually all make our way back to where we began, bending the right knee, sitting back into that figure 4 shape. And then slowly come up, pull the knee along for the ride. Now, instead of just going back to lunge, we're going to send that left leg back to a hover in your warrior 3. So again, where does it feel best for you to have your arms? Pull your belly up and in. Imagine you could radiate a light from your crown back to your heel. Keep rooting into that right big toe. Deep breath into the back of the heart space. One more breath here. After you complete that exhalation, take a big step back. Inhale, rise up to your lunge, full breath. And exhale, lower your hands down to the earth. So pose and counter pose. Let's give that right leg some love. Sweep your right leg up, bend your knee, open your hip. So maybe you just take some circles through the hip, or maybe you look under your left armpit. Rise up onto the ball of your left foot and slowly begin to shift the weight. Land the right foot behind the left thigh, up and over. Take a minute to really lift the hips and notice if all the weight is in your hand. Use your legs, find the balance here. Let an exhalation bring you back around. Sweep your right leg up to the sky and then lower your right leg down. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, pulling through. Urdhva Mukha, up dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. So take a deep, deep breath in and a deep breath out. Go ahead and send your left leg to the sky. I'll turn around and face you, so we're moving together here. And then step the whole way through. Coming to your lunge. We've been here numerous times, kind of finding that blueprint. Draw your hands to your heart and pull that right knee up. Again, gaze is so important here. So we're balancing on one side. So maybe this is where you stay. If you have an injury that's going to prevent you moving further, then be okay with that. Maybe you bring your hands down to the earth. I'm going to hop my way back here. And you lift up onto the ball of that left foot. Slowly making your way down to your toe stand. So again, one side's going to be different than the other. Maybe you're just here experiencing it. Maybe you play with bringing your hands to your heart center, finding that little moment of hover. And again, you never know what's going to happen in yoga. So be okay with that. It's not about touching your toes or getting into a pose. It's about what happens on the way. So make your way back up to your figure 4 and then pull that right knee up. So I'm going to turn and we're going to shift back into warrior 3. So again, arms wherever it makes sense to you. What you want is an extension from the crown of the head to the toe. So if your warrior 3 is here, great. What we don't want is this kind of thing, right? You want it to make sense from the crown down to the heel. So finding that place for you in your warrior 3. Breathe into your back. Imagine you could push the back of your belly button to your spine. One more breath here. Then bend into the standing leg. Step back. Open up to your lunge. Release your hands to the earth. Same thing, second side, flipping the dog. Left leg sweeps up. Bend your knee. Open up your hip. Enjoy a little bit of freedom there. Again, maybe you circle through the hip, or you rise up onto the ball of the right foot. Start to tilt everything over to the left, and then sweep up and open. And really focus on how much weight is in the right foot versus the right arm. Try to find that balance. And then make your way back around. 3-legged dog, left leg sweeps to the sky. And then lower your left foot to the earth. Inhale to come forward, finding your plank. Flush it out with a flow, chaturanga. Upward facing dog or cobra. And exhaling back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in through the nose and let it fly free out through the mouth. Take a moment to notice the balance. Right and left side, hands and feet, buzzing energy in the belly, pulling you up and in. And then send the weight into your left foot and send your right leg to the sky. Bend your knee, open up your hip if that feels good. And this is when we can let the hips come out of the same plane. But notice if all the weight goes into your right hand, into your left hand, press back into your right hand, square your shoulders. And then pull that right leg the whole way through. So plant your left heel down for warrior 2, a straight line from your heel to the center of that back arch, and rise on up. So take a moment, this is a beautiful pose to practice your balance in. Can you balance the weight in both of the feet, the arms in the same plane, the crown of the head rising right at the center? Think about sending the knee directly over the heel. And what if your spine could go the whole way down to the ground? So just take a moment here in your warrior 2. And don't lock out into any joint, the knees or the elbows, but instead just let yourself kind of breathe here. And then keeping that right knee bent, go ahead and flip the right palm. Go back to a reverse warrior. And you're going to take your left hand behind you into your hip crease. And notice a lot of times our knee will straighten here. Keep sending the knee forward and let the movement come from the torso to the back. One more breath here in your reverse warrior. And then keeping that arm behind the back, draw yourself up, straighten your right leg. Start to hinge your way forward toward triangle pose. And then we're going to lower that left arm down, but just the right arm down, the back of the hand pressing into the palm, and then draw your gaze upward. So keeping your shoulders nice and open here. Notice if all of your weight is in your right foot, can you press back into your left foot? So we're not leaning down into the leg, but we're lifting, drawing that left shoulder blade back. Now from here, take your gaze down towards your right toes. Take a little bend into your right knee. Start to slide your way forward to your half moon. So it's beautiful to have your hand behind your back. It's going to encourage you to keep your shoulders stacking. Look back and see if you can see your left toes. A lot of times they end up going back into a different plane. And as much as you can, press into that left foot as if there was a wall there for you to anchor into. Maybe your right fingertips get really light. Maybe your right hand begins to find your heart. So again, you can play. It's hard to do this and talk at the same time, but you can play with this and see what happens. Slowly step back. We're going to make our way the whole way back up to that reverse warrior, but straighten your right leg for a reverse triangle pose. Just breathe. Imagine you had kind of a rubber band stretching from your ankle to your wrist. And then finally release that left arm. Come back to warrior two. Cartwheel your hands down to the earth. And then lower your left knee down. You're going to straighten your right leg. So coming into little half splits. As you exhale, kind of fold forward, bend your elbows. And as you inhale, rise back away from the intensity. And exhale forward. So we're moving in these pulsations to just kind of coax the hamstrings awake. Some of us are really tight here, so we tend to want to freeze in this pose. So think about you're just slowly kind of unfreezing by using your breath. One more breath here. Any variations for those of you who like a different variation. And then we're going to crawl forward onto the sole of the right foot. Plant the hands and slide that right leg back. So coming back to this little balancing support and send your left arm forward. So bending your right knee, reach back with your left hand, find the foot. Now think about pushing the foot into the hand, but equally drawing the hand into the foot. It's going to take some of the weight out of your right hand. Notice here, again, balance. Find that place where you're really striving to find an equal amount of weight on both sides. And then inhale to stretch it out. Lower your hand, lower your foot, lower your knee. Reach up, downward facing dog. Inhale your way forward to plank. Roll through. Keep pressing back into the heels so the legs are doing as much work in chaturanga. Very important for shoulder health. And then make your way back, downward facing dog. Deep breath in and deep breath out. So I'm going to turn around so we get equality here. So sending your left leg to the sky. Bend your knee, open your hip, and notice if you have a tendency to dump over into your right hand. Reach back into your left hand, square your shoulders, and let this be about the opening up of your left side. Then as you exhale, step your foot the whole way through. Plant the right heel down a straight line from your heel to the center of your back arch, and then rise up into your warrior two. I always feel like there's a good adjustment time in clothing here. And again, great balancing pose. See if you can really find that equal rooting as if you had sockets that you could plug your feet into. Finding the arms in the same plane. Crown of the head at the center, sending awareness down your spine to the earth. Just find your breath here for a moment. And then flip your left palm. Come back to reverse, draw your right arm behind you into that hip crease. And just take a moment and notice if you're straightening the front leg. Can you send it back? Can you reach from your hip instead and let the opening come through the side of your body? And then wait for an exhalation. Let it sort of propel you up. Straighten your left leg. Start to hinge. So notice if all the weight's coming forward. Really anchor back into your right foot. And just let the back of your hand touch that inner thigh. And as you lean into your triangle pose, pull that right shoulder blade onto the back. Imagine a straight line from the sole of your right foot the whole way to the crown of your head. Maybe a little bend in that left knee. Pressing equally, finding balance. And then taking the gaze forward. A little bent into the knee. I'm going to slide back so I stay in the camera. We're going to lift up into that half moon pose. So right away, notice where your right leg goes. If it goes way back in space, kick it forward. Draw your right shoulder blade onto your back. Imagine you're between two panes of glass. And maybe as you extend more into the right foot, the left hand gets light. Maybe you're lightly touching the ground. Maybe you play with picking the hand up and bringing it to the heart. Totally your play. Bring the hand down. Let's go back. Take that big step back. We're going to come up like we did for reverse warrior, but straighten. Left leg, reach back. It should feel good, but I never know what's happening in your body. So make sure that you're being careful and safe. One more breath here. Finally unthread that right arm. Come back to warrior two. Cartwheel your way down to the earth. Pick up that left foot. Take it back. Oh, sorry. We're going to lower the right knee down and straighten the left leg. So coming into your half splits. So again, one side is going to be different, but I want you to think about just kind of slowly breathing and melting. It's like if you had a big block of ice, it's not immediately going to melt, right? So think about your breath as that kind of warm water. It's just slowly helping things start to melt, get loosened up. One more breath here in this half split. And then you're going to come forward onto the sole of your left foot. Plant your hands down and slide that left foot the whole way back. Coming back to the spinal balance, reaching the right fingertips forward. Find the length. And then bend the left knee, reach back with the right hand. So remember hugging the shoulder blade onto the back in our triangle, in our reverse warrior, in our half moon. Squeeze here. Press the foot into the hand into the foot. Draw the weight out of your left wrist. One more breath here. And then slowly, gently release. Lower your hand, lower your knee. Sit back into child's pose. Let your forehead rest. Take a full breath into the back body. And exhale it out. Walk your hands over to the left. And draw your hips over to the right. And then walk the hands back through center. Take them over to the right. Draw your hips to the left. And then slowly come back through center. We're going to draw ourselves back up to all fours, but just to slowly bring yourself the whole way down to the earth. And then go ahead and roll over onto your back and hug your knees into your chest. Come into just a little bit of rocking from side to side, giving your low back a little massage. And then go ahead and plant your feet down to the earth. Bring your arms down by your sides. So as you root down into the feet, start to slowly lift the hips up. And then start to hug the shoulders underneath. Interlace your fingers and press that fist down into the mat. Draw your chin away from your chest and see if you can press into your feet to lift your hips a little bit higher. Always make sure that you're giving some weight into your head and you're not drawing your chin to your chest. Imagine if you had like a soft peach right underneath your chin. One more breath here. And then slowly release. Slowly allow yourself to land back down to the mat. Just windshield wiper your legs from side to side. Maybe a little exhale out through the mouth, soften the jaw. And just be grateful for all of the work that you just did on the mat. Hug your knees into your chest. And we're going to come into a little hip stretch here, reclined. So take the legs up to the sky. You're going to cross your right leg in front of your left as if you were making the letter X. And then bend your knees and draw your heels down. From here, lift the head, the shoulders, and you could reach for the shins. You could reach for the soles of the feet, or maybe you reach across. And you're going to come back down. But what's really important here is your feet aren't like that. You want to make sure they're flexed. That's going to keep your knees nice and safe. And then to play with this little hip stretch, draw your heels away from your body. And then start to draw them back in. So you'll feel the intensity here. So you can kind of decide. But just like we talked about in our half splits, instead of just getting somewhere and holding it, like pouring boiling water on some ice, just let the warm water slowly begin to unfreeze things. Be okay with the sensations, whatever comes up. One more breath here, just breathing into the external hip flexors. And then go ahead and release the feet. You're going to bring your arms out to a T, lower your left foot down. Scoot your hips a little bit over to the right, and then allow your knees to drift to the left. Turn your head to the right, maybe close your eyes. And I want you to think about the balance of the legs drawing you to the left, and your head, your shoulder, your right arm drawing you to the right. So imagine this twist coming right at the center of your spine, right at the center of your back. Take a full breath in, breathe into your rib cage, and exhale out fully. And then go ahead and just slowly come back. Uncross your legs, scoot your hips back to center. It might feel good to kind of windshield wiper your legs from side to side. And then we'll go right into the second side. So take your legs straight up. Imagine you're making the letter X, left leg in front. And as you bend the knees, they're stacking. Reach up. Maybe this side is different. Maybe this hip is tighter. You can kind of make adjustments so the knees are in the same plane. See where it feels good for you to catch your feet. But again, make sure your feet are awake. Maybe you come back onto your head, your shoulders, and just play with moving. The more you move the heels away from your body, the more intense it's going to get into those outer hips. So again, that idea of just warm water, not boiling, not expecting things to just immediately happen, but just let that gradual process. So one more breath here. Maybe close your eyes. Notice if you're clenching your jaw or holding your breath. And shift away from that. And then go ahead and release. Bring your arms out to a T. You're going to lower that right foot down. Scoot your hips over to the left. Drop your knees to the right. And again, turn your gaze to the left. So you have this natural pulling of the legs to the right, the head, the shoulders, the left shoulder, the left arm, drawing you to the left. Breathe into it. Imagine this twist happening right at the center of your back. One last full breath. And then let it go. Go ahead and uncross, hug your knees into your chest. And then release your legs to the earth. Extend your arms out. Close your eyes. can stay here for as long as you like. Soften your jaw, soften your shoulders. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it go out through your mouth. And stay there for as long as you desire. Namaste. How did it go?